Hi guys, welcome back to another video at PBTV, and we're going to be talking about one of my favourite subjects today, gas blowback rifles, in particularly the MWS system, because there's a lot out there right now. There's obviously various different gas systems, but we're looking at the three different types of MWS system. So as we've seen before, Operation Know-How and various other breakdown videos, I've had an MWS for many, many years, and obviously you can build these things up as you want. So this has been on the Rate My Riff on Instagram, showing it off how I run it. It's been in the Operation Know-How of why I've set it up in this way. Again, there's been comments and stuff about the switch, people thinking that this switch is currently on backwards, but if the PEC box was in front of the switch, you'd spin it round because then the cables are going that way. But because the OGL is back here, I've spun it around, and it just means I can quite easily press it or use it as a thumb rest. But going that way, it means the cables actually fit. If it's the other way around, they basically go a straight line and it doesn't quite fit on right. So if you're struggling to fit an OGL on a Hydra mount with the switches, try flipping it around. It makes it very, very comfortable. But this is an age-old MWS system. It's had 1,000 rounds plus through it. And still running absolutely incredibly. So today, what we're going to look at is the three different types. We do have a Tokyo Marui MWS. We have a CGS DD4, and then we have the Double Eagle Noveski MWS. And we're just going to have a little chat about the differences between them, the pros and cons of each one, where they sit, how you can sort of adjust and play with them and things like that. Obviously, externally, there are some visual differences. That's just purely how they've been put together and how they look in the factory. We've got the URG, we've got the DD4, and we've got the Noveski. There are some crossovers in different brands that do different things with licensing and things like that. But what we want to look at is how they are different internally. So obviously we've got the TM that's in the UGR. We've got M-Lock on the front. We've got that nice flash hider. We've got the standard Stanag mags. We've got that dual tone look. With the DD4, this is a little bit more of a very, very small PDW. And again, with that Lancer style mag slightly differently. Obviously the new style Daniel Defense rail, all licensed, and obviously a very short back end aiming at that CQB. And then we've got the Noveski. Obviously, it came quite popular with SF use and things like that. Super sleek design, really thin handguard, making it a bit of a almost like a race gun, almost sort of run and gun type platform. And obviously in different colours as well. We've got all tan, tan and black, and then we've got grey versions as well. So obviously externally it is obvious what's different between them, but what we want to do is we're going to split all these platforms in half and show you internally what the slight differences are and the pros and cons between them. So join me in just a second. So guys, we're back. As you can see, we have split down the three platforms just so we can have a look at these. Obviously, the MWS has been around for many, many years, and it's sort of been that front runner. So obviously, we've got the URG version here, and internally, it will be very, very similar. And obviously, this revolutionized the gas sort of industry and how efficient gas blowback platforms could be. Obviously, coming from a Japanese market, the FPS was quite low, so the main thing that they had to adjust was the ability for it to lock back with sort of lesser gas or lower power, and they invented the Z system. Obviously, the main thing that's different is when this bolt hold open comes up, as you can see, this silver piece here comes up, and this is what catches on the bolt. Previous gas blowback platforms, the bolt still had to do a full cycle and block on the back of the magazine. So as you can see, there's a bit of a big difference where the bolt can stop. So the Z system was away with the bolt open here. You can see, rather than the bolt having to come all the way back and hook on at the front here, there's a latch here, and that's where the Z system hooks on, meaning that you're going to get that bolt stop more efficiently, even with less gas or lower power systems. So again, it was a brand new system that they did. The whole trigger box, various different things changed. Going away from the WA or like the WE system that were trying to mimic exactly its real steel counterparts with Sears springs and cantilevers and all sorts of different bits. They were still good, they still functioned, they just took a little bit more care and attention cleaning, whereas the MWS just will keep going and be extremely efficient. The main bonus with the MWS being out for so long as well, it's almost like it's been a test bed. Tokyo Marui is always a sort of a hive for third-party parts, improvement, upgrades, various different things. So they build something and people want to make it better. So loads of parts, upgrades and accessories happened. What that then leads to is what we'll come on to shortly, but it also means that people are always looking for different ways to upgrade and mod it. So again, the magazine is a big thing that was different from like the WA system, things like that, where it's the feed lips, the actual last round knocker at the back. Obviously this comes up, allowing it to lock onto that part of the bolt and various different things. One of the main mods that people did is there is a tube inside these magazines where you fill the gas. There's a brass tube that comes down to about here. And fluid dynamics, when you're putting gas in here, it actually comes into the magazine as a liquid, similar to a lighter. So when that liquid fills up, it hits the end of that brass tube, and then it can't fill anymore because you can't fit any more liquid in it. So people were then taking them tubes out, allowing them to fill their magazines with more gas, getting more shots out of them. Something that was known, people do it all the time, and it's just a known upgrade that people are doing in the future, and I think that's already been done with some of the other mags. A couple of other things as well, obviously the hop system on the Tokyo Marui system. You can see it just in here. If we look at the top-down camera, you can see the hop adjustment in there. So it is a wheel, and obviously it was a new style of hop system for gas weapons. It was easier to get to. It wasn't a tiny Allen key under the breech, making it very, very easy to adjust on the fly, even through the breech door if you had a little tool or anything. But you can just adjust that little wheel, and it rotates an arm and puts pressure on the hop rubber. Nice and easy to do, very, very simple, and they were around for years. So what that led to very recently, an explosion over the last couple of years, is different people, different companies doing various different versions of that system. Rather than trying to copy or go with the original, like the WA system, they were going for what was and has become the sort of pinnacle of gas blowback platforms. And again, people still swear by the TM. I've had one for the years. It's had nothing done to it, apart from maybe a hot bucking changed every now and again, but it is still running absolutely flawlessly. Again, this was designed for the Japanese market, so quite low powered. Everyone knows that TM comes out at like 250, 270 FPS, and you can't really do much with it apart from with upgrades and things like that. Hence came the CGS system. So the CGS system has some various different upgrades, especially in the bottom half here, and some differences in the magazine. So personally, what I think it was for is the MWS never really took off. It is in the American market, but it never really took off in the American market or places where powers are even higher than ours. So I've played in various different places where you're allowed to do 1.55 joules on a 2.5 with a standard sort of what is equivalent of an AEG platform, your standard rifleman, and it's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm alive. I was never hurt. So the power limits are different in different places. So that was very difficult for the MWS to take off when you know that you've got to get one and then upgrade it to that power. The CGS did that out the box. So one of the main things that they did, you can just see this Allen key screw just there. It's very small on camera, but that adjusts the spring tension on the hammer. So what that means is that when this goes forward, it's how hard that hammer is hitting the hammer here that's going to hit your knocker valve and allow more gas out. Slightly different to an M-Pass, so probably not quite as fine-tunable, but it does mean that FPS is adjustable. It's obviously got a plus and minus to make it very, very easy, and obviously we've got a similar roller-bearing hammer, a similar system to the original blowback bolt stop system. We don't have the Z arm on this. Again, it was probably a spacing thing with the other stuff that they've put in there with the priming screw and various different things. As you can see, we also have a slightly different buffer compared to the TM. We've got a metal aluminium buffer, and again, that's probably because this is a shorter tube, so this is mainly different for this specific build. Again, looking at the magazine, and other upgrades that happened was the router valve. It was a high flow router valve to get more gas out of it, again helping that pressure happen. The bolt hold open is the same, but we have a larger knocker valve at the back, again with that heavier hammer hitting it, and we do have hidden valves at the bottom, so you do have to press this, slide it open and fill it. They all have silent fill, so when you are filling this with gas, you listen to the tin or waiting for it to spit a little bit of fluid to make sure it is full. But again, having an out-the-box MPAS style system meant it was much more accessible. It had the hop rubber adjustment and the router adjustment, meaning it was much more accessible to these higher power systems. And again, slight upgrades, maybe side grades, you could say, compared to the standard MWS, because there are some, obviously, with it having a slightly different trigger box, there are obviously some slight differences within compatibility when it comes to MWS and third-party parts. Obviously, the actual Z arm can't be changed or replaced because it isn't in here. And again, hammers and things like that are obviously different. When it comes to the top end, the actual bolt itself, again, very similar, if not the same. So the bolt is the same. These are slightly different looking because of the Daniel Defense styling. But what we also have, again, trying to see that hop in there, rather than getting a wheel, you can just see it there. It is a flat-headed screw. So rather than having to get your finger in there or all that, the way with this is you split it in half, open it, just pull your bolt back, and then just turn it. It's obviously indented, so it does click, and it's a bit more of a positive hop adjustment. If you're used to the MWS and you've got on with it, it's a bit of a side grade, a bit more convenient for new players, dropping a tooled version in there, meaning it's very, very easy to adjust on the fly. And again, there is a roller bearing on the bolt on this as well. So the CGS is considered an upgraded version of the MWS, but it's not an exact MWS clone, because there are some compatibility differences, especially with the trigger box and some other bits. But having that high flow router, having the FPS adjustment out of the box without having to get an MPAS or various different other things, means that once this thing is set up and you've got the right gas and you've got your right pressure, its consistency is incredible. And with the hop system and the magazine system, this thing does fling some really decent weight BBs as well. I think 2 8s and 3s, even in a short barreled system, absolutely fine. Loved trying this thing on the range. And again, it's a lot of fun. The shorter blowback system with the shorter tube and stuff like that, probably slightly better in our climates, because obviously we are trying to keep the power down. So the upgrades that are in this, allowing you to adjust it, really, really good for summer and winter. But the main ones that these were built for were them high power ones. So being able to drop it down and keep that UK power limit was essential as well. I think visually wise, I love the Daniel Defense system as well, the new rail system and the linear compensator on the front, giving that 300 blackout a really cool visual. And flip up sights as well, just out the box, means it's very versatile. Coming on to probably, if I was to start again from scratch, this is probably where I would end up if I was looking at a gas blowback system nowadays, because it is as close to as a MWS one-to-one clone without it being a TM. So it's much more budget friendly. They look incredible with the Noveski styling and things like that. And again, you can get them in various different colors, whether it's gray, black, tan, or anything between that. You can get sort of dual tone ones. So as you can see inside, we've got a very similar system. We've got the Z arm coming up there, and the roller bearing system with the hammers coming back, and just allowing that system to function exactly the same as the MWS system. Obviously, it doesn't have that inbuilt NPAS system, so the way that you're going to have to adjust your power with this is with different types of gas. So it does involve some testing. We've gone through various different ones, and we've had this thing go from anywhere from sort of 330 to sort of 360 in room temperature. So making sure you're using that lower gas to make sure you're staying in the limits of your site. Again, pulling the bolt out, we do have that roller bearing bolt system and a really nice butterfly charging handle. But with this being that sort of one-to-one clone, looking in there at the hop, you can see it is the same wheel style system as the original MWS. The one thing that we will say is, as you can see on the front here, we have what looks like a PTS dead air flash hider. So you can see they are extremely similar, but they are different. What we believe has happened, obviously PTS is for airsoft only, so they have made this and this specifically for airsoft. With this being a licensed item, we believe that this has the sort of more real steel measurements and things like that. So a dead air suppressor will not fit on this flash hider, purely because it's been made off the real variants, whereas PTS don't want people getting this and maybe putting something they shouldn't on the front of it. But when it comes to the Double Eagle MWS clone, it has a bit more, if not a one-to-one compatibility ratio when it comes to third-party parts or upgrades or replacements or all that. Compared to the CGS, having them upgrades already with the various different things, the compatibility of third-party parts is slightly different. So if I was starting again, I'd probably be looking at the Double Eagle. Again, nothing against the TM. I have a TM, love it to pieces, and would never stray away from it unless I didn't have it. The difference in sort of budget between the URG and the Noveski, I like the look of both, so I'd lean towards that. If you're wanting that URG look and a bit more of that modern styling, a bit bigger, bulkier system, and knowing it is that MWS, that proven workhorse that will just run and gun for absolutely ever, I think it's an incredible choice. And again, there's various different ones. And we've also thrown each mag in each different platform, including my older style ones, and they all function. The only sort of slight hiccup we had is the Double Eagle mag in the CGS is an extremely tight fit. It needs a little bit of a love tap on the bottom to lock in. But again, most people, regardless of which platform you get, the MWS mag is people's favourites. There are some noticeable differences. So if we look at the MWS and the Double Eagle, what we see initially is the bolt stop at the back. The Double Eagle is much, much taller. And again, that might just be an internal design system to make sure it is coming up and holding that bolt back when we are out of ammo. And we do see a slight difference in feed lips. So we see a round cut on the TM and we see a square cut on the Double Eagle. Personally, what I think that is, MWS mags are inherently sort of without any adapter or speed loader adapter. Trying to do it with just a raw speed load is quite difficult. You need to get it at a right angle and sort of feed them in at a funny sort of try and pincer your fingers. I think what they've done is they've slightly adjusted these, made them slightly wider so you can load them straight from the top. Most people get some sort of a third-party adapter or use the one that comes with your pistol speed loader and click on the top and go from there. Get various different 3D printed parts or loaders or things like that. Again, we do have the Lancer style magazine from the CGS. Works in each different one. And again, you've got that higher router, everything bolt locks, all still works. And again, we were getting different FPSs. So obviously, if this magazine was doing 330, the MWS mag might have done 10 FPS more. But it was then consistent between each one. So you were getting the same consistency. So shot from shot was going to be the same. There was no spikes, there was no nothing. The only one that we did have was out the box, the CGS with no hop was all over the place. It needs that air seal for it to get a consistent FPS. So if you have no hop on and you're wondering why your FPS is bouncing 30, 40 in different ways, make sure you've got your hop correctly set for the weight of BB that you're running. Apart from that, I absolutely love gas blowback platforms. I think it's incredibly fun to run them. Sometimes do you feel outgunned by the types of platform that are on the field at the moment with the rates of fire and people running 200 rounds and this, that, and the other? Yeah, sometimes, but when you do have that good moment, it is much more rewarding, and I think reloading is part of the game and a lot of fun as well. So if you're thinking of dipping your toe or you're spreading your wings into the gas blowback system, personally, I think any of these will be a great starter. Whether or not it's the actual OG MWS compatibility, just reliability is just next level with that. It's just a proven workhorse, and TM just know how to put things together. You don't need to do anything to it. Put some gas in it, put some BBs in it, and just run until you're sort of smiling ear to ear. If you want something slightly different that TM don't make a version of, that's when you can step into the other ones, whether or not it's the Daniel Defense with the CGS system, you want in a really compact PDW sort of CQB weapon, or if you want something a bit more budget friendly that still has the compatibility of the TM, look at the Double Eagle and the Noveski 300 Blackouts. You won't go wrong with absolutely any of them. And again, when it comes to building them up, as I've said with mine, you can do what you want with it. They've all got RIS on the top for optics, mounts, this, that, and the other. As you can see, I've also changed the rail and externally parts on this, but internally, this thing is the same as it was originally, apart from a couple of hot rubbers over its lifespan. And again, it just keeps going. The magazines never had an issue with, as long as you keep on with your maintenance. Any leaks note can be fixed with a little bit of silicone, and you can just run a gun. There is nothing to fear about gas blowback platforms. Obviously, stripping them, cleaning them, make sure it's a little bit more than what you do with an AEG, but you will have a hell of a lot of fun running around, whether or not it's indoors, outdoors, CQB training sessions, just getting used to sort of operations of arms and things like that, safety aspects, bolt hold open, bolt stop, mag changes. You'll just absolutely love it, and I've loved every second of it. So let us know down below, which is your choice. Are you looking at an OGTM, a CGS, or an N4 sort of Double Eagle? And how would you build it as well? Would you keep these OG? How would you run optics-wise? Let us know. How do you build yours? If you've got one already, if you're on Instagram, send us images. We'll share them. We want to see how you're putting your stuff together. But if that is everything for today, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in a bit. Bye.